Hello there. I'm on page 79 in the workbook, and I know this doesn't look much like yours, but you will have these to paste in. These are those dark blue vocabulary doors. I would fill them in before pasting them, but that's up to you. If you would rather paste them down, that's fine. The top row should look like this. The economics consumer one goes on the left, and then positive incentive and opportunity cost on the right. Just sort of line them up and fit them on there. I gave you the doors to give you some more space to write. As you can see, I don't have a lot of room, but you can open up your doors and use both sides of the paper there to write on. I think you will have plenty of room, but I'm going to have to write carefully. So the first definition that we're looking for is that of economics. And I've already read this story. I won't do that again. I just want you to find the term if you have highlighters, or you can use your colored pencils here. I want to use that strategy we learned in science. Economics is, so there's the linking verb, the study of how people make and spend money by buying and selling goods and services. So that's the definition that we need to move to our little door. Economics is a study. So I'm going to try my best to squeeze that in there. Behind your economics door, it's the study of, and I have to look back. I can already tell you this is not going to work. How people make and spend money. You really could stop right there. By buying and selling goods. So economics deals with both the buying and the selling that occurs in our world. I always thought of economics as a balancing act. You have to balance what's produced with what's consumed, or prices will fluctuate. You either get inflation and prices are sky high, or you get prices that are sky high because there are no goods to buy. We just came through the coronavirus lockdown, and people were buying toilet paper at an astronomical rate. So the supply could not keep up with the demand. It's about balancing those factors. Okay, a consumer. So let's look back at our writing and find the word consumer. These are not necessarily in order. So you have to skim for, this is the test taking strategy. Look for the word that you want to find. So here's consumer. And then you need to read immediately around it. The people who buy the goods and services are called consumers. So there's my definition. The people who buy the goods and services. So that's what we need to write behind the consumer door. People who buy, and I'm going to add and use goods and services. Some things don't, like adult education, you don't have to pay for that, but you still use that service. So people who buy and use goods and services are called consumers. And this is going to sound negative, but I don't mean it to. These are the users. These are the customers, the clients. Those are other words that you could use. Okay, those people are consumers. The next term is positive incentive. So let's look for positive. There it is. Positive incentives. Offer rewards for choices. Positive incentives are rewards, like coupons and rebates. That make us want to buy or make us choose a product. Like coupons, like I said, that rebates, those kinds of things. Okay, an opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. So let's skim for that term. There it is. I would read the sentence before and after. That's usually a good way to get the context. Often when you make economic decisions, you will have an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is the cost or value of what you give up when you choose one thing over another thing. So I'm going to shorten that just a hair to the cost or value of what you give up. And it gave us the middle school or high school example of a student with an allowance. But let me give you an adult example. Let's suppose that I want to buy a new car. And I go to the dealer and I find a car that I really, really, really want, and it costs $30,000. I also find a car there that's only $15,000. It's half the price of the one I really want, but it's not what I want. It's $15,000 cheaper, but it's really not what I want. But I have a car that I can trade in. And let's say that the car that I have to trade in is worth $10,000. So I have to make a decision. Do I want to trade in the $10,000 car and give up that value? Or do I want to buy the car that's priced less at the dealer? The opportunity cost here would be, if I decide to trade in, it's the value of the car I'm trading. I'm giving up the car that I've been driving to get a different car that I really want. So opportunity cost is what it costs you to make the choice you make. Okay, supply. In economics terms, what is a supply? So let's scroll over until we find it. It was toward the end. Here we go. Supply. Supply refers to the amount of something, either a good or a service, that is available to consumers. So let me go back over here. Supply is the amount of something that's available. If you consider the toilet paper example, supply has been limited because everybody went out and bought toilet paper and the producers couldn't keep up. The example of a dentist. If you only have one dentist in a town with 100,000 people, you can imagine how busy she's going to be. But if you have 1,000 dentists in a town with 10,000 people, those dentists are not going to be able to find work. So the supply is the amount of something that is available. We all know the general definition of a risk, but let's look at the economics definition of a risk. And I can't remember where it was. You just have to scroll through the text, scan it. There we go. Risks. A risk is a chance someone takes when making a decision. If you're a gambler, you know what risks are. A chance someone takes when making a decision. A negative incentive. There's a synonym for negative incentive that comes to my mind, and I'll share it with you. It's actually in the text. A negative incentive. Negative incentives offer consequences for choices or punishment for doing a certain thing. So the word that I was looking for is consequence. If you decide to drive drunk, there's a consequence for that. There is a negative incentive for driving drunk. And it's your choice, but you will face the consequences. A positive incentive is a reward. A negative incentive is a consequence. Human resources. You might have heard of a human resources department. Human resources are, there's the linking verb, the people who work to earn money while producing goods and services. Human resources are people who, I'm going to reword this just a hair, produce goods and services for payment. Ford Motor Company produces a service, a goods, cars, and they pay their employees to do that. Those employees are the human resources, and that's a good synonym for human resources. Your employees are your human resources. So what is demand? Demand. That goes with supply. In economics, you rarely hear one without the other. Supply, demand, demand, supply. Demand. Demand, on the other hand, is how much of something, either a good or service, that consumers want. Let's go back to our toilet paper example. The demand for toilet paper has been high. It is the amount of something that consumers want. If you work around kids or you have kids, you know what demand is. When they get some brand at school that everybody's wearing this kind of clothes or carrying this kind of bag, the demand goes through the roof because everybody wants it. A decision. You all know what decision means, but let's see what the economics definition of decision is. A decision is a choice you make based on the trade-offs and opportunity costs. I'm just going to leave it as simple as I can. A decision is a choice. You have to decide, like the car example, is it worth it for me to trade in my old car, or would I rather have a cheaper car but have two cars? That's a decision that has to be made. Goods. What are goods in the economic sense? Goods are the actual products that people buy and sell. Goods are products. The actual products. You can hold them in your hands. The actual products that people buy and sell. If you're interested in investing in the stock market, you want to find stocks on goods that are popular. You probably would not want to invest money in headphones or a CD player, an iPad for dogs, iPod. That's not practical. Those goods are not going to be popular. But what about an iPod for high school students? That kind of goods is probably going to be more lucrative. There will be a bigger payoff for investing in that kind of thing. Capital resources. Anytime I see capital, I think of money. Capital resources. Unless it's a CAPITOL, and then I think of Congress. Capital resources are the products used to create other products. The products used to create other products. Money is probably the biggest one. You have to have money to make money. You may have heard that. The products used to create other products. If you're a construction contractor, you need things like bricks and lumber and windows in order to create your product, which is a house. So capital resources are those products needed to create other products. A producer. This is not a music producer, although you could, I guess, use that analogy. Let's see what the definition is and we'll decide. It says these people are called producers. So we need to back up and see who these people are. In economics, there are people and businesses who make and sell goods and services. People and businesses who make and sell goods and services. So producers are the creators. People and businesses. So you could use a movie producer. Person who produces that service or that goods. People and businesses who create, who make goods and services. If you think of a restaurant, the producers are the people who make the food, the farmers, the factories that produce the food. Also the chefs who cook the food are producers. They are the creators. The consumers are the users. A trade-off. We've all been faced with these decisions about trading off. Um, Here we go. When you choose one thing over another, you are making a trade-off. Choosing one thing over another. I'm going to add a little bit. After careful consideration. So let's go back to my car example. Let's decide that, or say that I decide to keep my old car and go with the cheaper car. So I am trading off the features of that nice car that I wanted, but the trade-off is that I get to keep my old car. I'm making a choice after careful consideration. Services. Here we go. This is singular, but a service, on the other hand, is an action or work that someone provides to help someone. Actions or work that someone provides. I'm going to say it this way, that one provides to help another. Those are services. And finally, we have natural resources. And I think probably I did not need to highlight productive resources. Natural resources are things that are found in nature. And I'm going to add a little bit to that because lots of things are found in nature. COVID-19 is found in nature, but we don't want that. Let's say useful things that are found in nature. Gold, silver, uranium, wind, natural gas, oil, trees. Those are natural resources. So you have lots of new terms to think about relating to economics. You don't need to memorize all of this text. It's just an overview to get you thinking about it. And hopefully I will see you back on track next week for social studies. And if you have questions about this, please don't hesitate to email me. But I will see you soon. Have a good day.